I don't know what to say.
Welcome back to our YouTube channel. After murdering day 3 after murdering somebody.
Wow! Don't put that on the camera.
It was worth it.
This is a shocking story about a parent's worst nightmare that went horribly wrong. It all started when 2 teens made terrible choices that led to the tragic death of one of their fathers, Daniel Halseth. He was stabbed multiple times, and on the evening of April 9, 2021, 45-year-old Daniel Halseth was found dead in the garage, with his body set on fire to hide the evidence. Who could have committed such a horrific act?
Baby, you're fine. Come on, let your colors burst. Make them go, You've got to shoot across the sky.
He's looking at the camera.
I love you, girl.
Daniel was born in Estacada, Oregon, where his family had deep roots as some of the state's earliest settlers. He worked hard and earned a bachelor's degree in music from Western Oregon University, earning the fun nickname Drummer Dan while he was there. But Daniel didn't stop there. He also got a business degree from Corban University in Salem. Daniel loved sharing his life on social media. He was super active and gained over 20,000 followers on Instagram. He called himself an entrepreneur, but his posts show that he had a passion for adventure too. Daniel loved sharing his life online. He would post photos of his travel, everyday activities, and countless adorable pictures of his youngest daughter, Sierra. With almost 13,000 followers on Twitter, 20,000 on Instagram, and a bunch of friends on Facebook, he showcased all the exciting moments in his life.
Ooh, what'd you say?
Happy Valentine's Day.
Oh, happy Valentine's Day. Hey, Jordan, happy Valentine's Day. Jordan, happy Valentine's Day.
Hi, Dad.
Valentine's Day.
Dad, Valentine's Day starts.
No, but I want you
to.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day, Daddy.
While Daniel wasn't perfect, he was on a journey to better himself and cherished being a dad more than anything else. His family said he was the heart of the Halseth family, and his aunt shared that his world revolved around his kids. They always came first in his life. Daniel's love for his family truly shone in everything he did.
Yeah, the eel's my favorite.
The eel's your favorite one?
Most lovely. I can't believe the last time I had this amount of sugar. Sugar's so lovely.
Especially.
Don't you think? Let us have a spot of tea for our cheers. How lovely. Shall we pour another?
Yes, we should.
Most delightful. I can't believe that I can't stop.
His last Instagram post was an incredible aerial photo of Las Vegas taken from a plane. It looked like he was flying back to LAX after an exciting trip that took him to places like Providence, Rhode Island, Oakland, California, and Boston, Massachusetts. During his travels, he snapped pictures of famous landmarks and tourist attractions, sharing his adventures with everyone online. Besides Instagram, Daniel also had a YouTube channel where he posted videos of his hiking adventures in the beautiful Bay Area. He loved spending time in nature and often took his daughter Sierra along. At first, she enjoyed these outings, but as she grew older, her interests changed, and you'll learn more about that soon. Daniel had been married to a remarkable woman named Elizabeth, who made history by becoming the youngest person elected to the Nevada State Senate at just 27 years old in 2010. They tied the knot in March 2001 and had 3 kids together, with Sierra being the youngest. Unfortunately, after 10 years of marriage, they divorced in 2011. But after 10 years of marriage, things started to go downhill. In 2011, Daniel was arrested when Elizabeth claimed he had tried to force himself upon her. Since Elizabeth was a public figure, the news spread quickly and got a lot of media attention. A month later, Daniel filed for divorce, accusing Elizabeth of having an affair. He ended up pleading guilty to lesser charges and was sentenced to 6 months of probation and anger management classes. On the day Daniel died, his mother was frantically trying to reach him. She hadn't been able to speak to him for over 2 days, which was strange because they spoke daily and shared a close bond. Worried something was wrong, she called Sierra, Daniel's 16-year-old daughter. Sierra told her grandmother that her dad's phone was broken. But when 10 a.m. rolled around the next day and still no word from Daniel, his mother called Sierra again, demanding to speak to him. Sierra claimed he was in the shower. When her grandmother said she would call the police, Sierra suddenly hung up the phone. Shortly after this, surveillance cameras captured Daniel's blue Nissan Altima leaving the area. Daniel's mother asked Peggy Newman, Daniel's friend and landlord, if she could visit the house to check in on him. Peggy said she wouldn't be able to get there for a few hours, but she'll be happy to make the trip. Scared to enter the house alone, she waited on the driveway for a friend to join her. While this was going on, Daniel's mother made the call that every parent dreads.
How may I help you?
Yeah, hi. I need a welfare check. I don't know if
On who are we doing a welfare check?
for my son. He's been missing for 2 days. His work's called, his family's called, I've called, his ex-wife's called, and there's nobody answering the phone, and nobody is there's nothing. Nobody can get a hold of him, and then his work called, and they can't get a hold of him, and it's really, he just doesn't act like this.
Okay. Does he live alone?
He lives with his 16-year-old daughter, who is not answering the phone.
Okay.
Or replying to a text.
Mm-hmm.
And the weird part is, I'll just tell you this, there's been ATM withdrawals at 3 different ATMs.
Peggy and her friend discovered that the front door was open. Daniel's car was missing, and the house smelled of smoke, with a large scorched patch on the living room floor. They tentatively went through every room upstairs but found nothing. Entering the garage, the smell of lighter fluid was strong and thick in the air. On the ground was a sleeping bag, and inside was the badly burned body of Daniel Halseth.
911 emergency, Guerrero 16497. Do you need police, fire, or medical?
How's a dead body? Oh my God. 8417 Dumpsy Court. 8417 Dumpsy Court.
Do you need police, fire, or medical?
There was a fire, and we went in to investigate. The fire must be a couple of days old. But there's a dead body in the garage. We just found him with the homeowner that doesn't live here.
Okay, and you're in there right now?
Yes.
When the police arrived at Daniel's home, what they uncovered was more horrifying than anyone could have imagined. They immediately began investigating to figure out what had happened. As they searched the house, they found some chilling clues that pointed to a brutal crime. There was a bottle of lighter fluid, a chainsaw, a circular saw, and a handsaw, all of which had blood on them. Even more disturbing, the handsaw had bits of human tissue sticking to the teeth. It was clear that someone had tried but failed to dismember Daniel's body. That wasn't all. The police also found 2 pocket knives and a pack of extra blades. While the knives had been cleaned, it looked like they had once been covered in blood. Whoever did this had tried to wipe away all the evidence and bloodstains, especially near the spot where the pocket knives were discovered. Daniel had died from multiple stab wounds to his chest, neck, and back. After the attempt to dismember him didn't work, the killer tried to cover their tracks by setting the house on fire, hoping to destroy any evidence. The smell of lighter fluid was still strong in the air, and in the living room, police found a large burned area with blood nearby. But the question remained, what exactly happened? Who could have done something so terrible to a kind, talented man like Daniel, someone loved by almost everyone? Las Vegas, Nevada, back in April 2021. Now, Las Vegas hardly needs an introduction. It's a city that's always buzzing with energy no matter what time it is. Among the 500,000 people who call this place home was 45-year-old Daniel Halseth. It began with a teenage romance between Aaron Guerrero, who was 18, and Daniel's 16-year-old daughter, Sierra Halseth. The two were madly in love, and mad is the right word if you're planning to do something as awful as what came next. Their relationship was full of drama. According to Aaron's mom, they started dating in June 2020, and the couple was convinced they couldn't live without each other. They even talked about running away to be together forever. Aaron's parents were understandably worried when he told them he wanted to run away with Sierra. He said they planned to head to Los Angeles. Concerned for their son's safety and Sierra's, Aaron's parents reached out to Sierra's family. Both families agreed that the best thing to do was stop the teens from communicating and give them some space to figure things out. Of course, this was exactly what Aaron and Sierra didn't want. That's when they started plotting ways to stay together, no matter what their parents said. Aaron's parents noticed a big change in him. After being told he couldn't see Sierra anymore, he became furious. Every day, he argued with them and he even threatened to run away from home. The Guerreros were shocked by their son's behavior, but they weren't the only ones dealing with problems after the decision to split the teens up. Daniel's ex-wife shared that Daniel was also having a tough time with his daughter. He and Sierra used to get along great, but once Aaron entered the picture, everything changed. Sierra became obsessed with her boyfriend and stopped caring about everything else. You could say she was madly in love. The arguments between Daniel and his daughter always seemed to come back to Aaron. Lieutenant Ray Spencer even confirmed that Daniel had told Sierra he didn't want her dating Aaron. Unable to accept their family's decision to keep them apart, Aaron and Sierra allegedly decided to take things into their own hands. The couple, who had been dating for several months, wasn't about to let their parents control their lives. They started hatching a plan. If they wanted to run away and be together, they'd need money. Their big idea was to rob their parents and head to Los Angeles before anyone could stop them. On April 9, when nobody was expecting any bad news, Aaron killed Sierra's father in cold blood, with Sierra allegedly helping him, though the exact details of what happened aren't clear. What investigators did find was that Daniel had been stabbed around 70 times, then stuffed into his sleeping bag and set on fire. When his body was discovered, it was almost completely burned. Security footage from the night of the murder shows Aaron and Sierra driving away from Daniel's house in his car. But that's not all. Detectives also found footage from a hardware store showing Aaron buying a saw, lighter fluid, and plastic gloves, the tools for a terrible plan. And Sierra wasn't just sitting back either. She was caught on video at a grocery store buying bleach, likely to clean up any evidence that would lead back to them. Adding to the suspicion, Daniel's ex-wife, who remained friends with him after their divorce, noticed something strange. She and Daniel shared a bank account to pay off mutual debts, and on April 8, just a day before his murder, over $1,300 was withdrawn from the account. She tried calling Daniel, but no one answered, most likely because by that time, he was already dead. Aaron and Sierra were just caught a few days later in Salt Lake City, Utah, after they ran away. They had been using Sierra's dad's credit card to pay for their trip, but the police were already hot on their trail. Officers in Utah found the teens when they were on a train at the 900 South station. Aaron didn't have a ticket, so the police checked his background. That's when they found out both Aaron and Sierra were wanted in Las Vegas for something much more serious. Even though Aaron and Sierra tried to cover their tracks, they left plenty of clues behind. The police followed receipts and security camera footage, which led them to a key piece of evidence that would seal the deal. When the officers checked the couple's phones, they found a disturbing video recorded just 3 days after Sierra's father was killed. It was exactly what they needed to connect the teens to Daniel's murder. This video was shocking, not because of anything bloody or violent, but because of what they said and how they acted, without a single bit of guilt. In the video, Aaron and Sierra are lying on a bed, cuddling like they didn't have a care in the world. Aaron, with a grin on his face, jokes about welcoming viewers to their YouTube channel. Then things take a very dark turn. With a smile, Aaron says it's been 3 days since they killed someone, not mentioning names. Sierra laughs and seems embarrassed, telling him not to say that on camera. But it was too late. The phone had already recorded it, and the video would become a key piece of evidence. This is really scary, because it suggests that Sierra had helped her boyfriend kill her father, all because they weren't allowed to be together. Just think about that. They were told no, and they thought that was enough of a reason to take someone's life. As an adult, it's hard to wrap your mind around it. You'd probably see this whole thing as crazy. If you were the parent of a teenage daughter and you found out that she and her boyfriend were planning to steal from you and run away, you'd think that relationship was nothing but trouble. It also looks like money played a part in their actions. It wasn't just about not being allowed to be together. With the withdrawals from Daniel's bank account and their plan to rob him for money to escape to LA, it shows that their first goal wasn't murder. They were just trying to get enough cash to run away. We don't know exactly how long Sierra and Aaron had been planning this, but the security footage of them buying supplies makes it clear that they thought about this beforehand. In Las Vegas, teens who are 16 or older are automatically treated as adults in serious cases. After Sierra and Aaron were brought back to Clark County, they were hit with some pretty big charges. These included murder with a deadly weapon, conspiracy to commit murder, arson, robbery with a deadly weapon, conspiracy to commit robbery, and using a credit card fraudulently 4 times. At first, they both said they weren't guilty of anything, but they changed during the trial in May 2022.
A teen girl and her boyfriend accused of killing her father enter not guilty pleas. This is a story the I-Team first broke in April after the body of Daniel Halseth was discovered.
The list of charges against 16-year-old Sierra Halseth and her 18-year-old boyfriend Aaron Guerrero includes murder, conspiracy to commit murder, arson, robbery, and fraud.
Do you understand the 9 charges that you're facing in the indictment?
Yes. The teens quietly stand next to each other as they answer the judge's questions.
Guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty. Not guilty.
In the end, both Sierra and Aaron pleaded guilty to all 9 charges. In October 2022, they were sentenced to life in prison, but with a chance to get parole after 22 years. They were also ordered to pay $5,000 as restitution. According to court records, Sierra, now 18, is locked up at the Florence McClure Women's Correctional Center in North Las Vegas. Aaron, who is 20, is serving his time at the High Desert State Prison in Clark County. Neither of them will be able to ask for parole until 2044. It's heartbreaking to imagine a daughter doing something so horrible just because her dad was trying to protect her. After Daniel's death, an online obituary was posted saying that he died suddenly, but it didn't mention how. Of course, no one would want to write "brutally murdered" next to his name.
The sentence that was agreed upon by the parties. Ms. Halseth, in accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada, you're going to be adjudicated guilty on count 1, conspiracy to commit murder. Count 2, first-degree murder with use of a deadly weapon. Count 3, first-degree arson. Count 4, fraudulent use of a credit or a debit card. Count 5, fraudulent use of a credit or a debit card. Count 6, fraudulent use of a credit or a debit card. Count 7, fraudulent use of a credit or a debit card. Count 8, conspiracy to commit robbery. And count 9, robbery with the use of a deadly weapon. In addition to the $25 administrative assessment fee, the $150 DNA testing fee, the $3 DNA assessment fee, you're going to be ordered to pay $2,125 in extradition fees. You're also going to be ordered to pay $5,000 in restitution to victims of crime, and that'll be done jointly and severally with the codependent. On count 1, you're going to be sentenced to 48 to 120 months in the Nevada Department of Corrections. On count 2, you're going to be sentenced to life in the Nevada Department of Corrections with the possibility of parole after 20 years has been served, plus a consecutive 24 to 60 months in the Nevada Department of Corrections for the deadly weapon enhancement. Count 2 is ordered to run concurrent to count 1. On count 3, you're going to be sentenced to 72 to 180 months in the Nevada Department of Corrections. That's ordered to run concurrent to count 2. On count 4, you're going to be sentenced to 19 to 48 months in the Nevada Department of Corrections. That's ordered to run concurrent to count 3. On count 5, you're going to be sentenced to 19 to 48 months in the Nevada Department of Corrections. That's ordered to run concurrent to count 4. On count 6, you're going to be sentenced to 19 to 48 months in the Nevada Department of Corrections. That's ordered to run concurrent to count 5. On count 7, you're going to be sentenced to 19 to 48 months in the Nevada Department of Corrections, and that's ordered to run concurrent to count 6. On count 8, you're going to be sentenced to 28 to 72 months in the Nevada Department of Corrections. That's ordered to run concurrent to count 7. On count 9, you're going to be sentenced to 72 to 180 months in the Nevada Department of Corrections, plus a consecutive 72 to 180 months for the deadly weapon enhancement. That is ordered to run concurrent to count 8. You have 555 days credit for time served. That is a total aggregate sentence of life in the Nevada Department of Corrections with the possibility of parole after 22 years of good service. Thank you. Mr. Guerrero, in accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada, you're going to be adjudicated guilty on count 1, conspiracy to commit murder. Count 2, first-degree murder with use of a deadly weapon. Count 3, first-degree arson. Count 4, fraudulent use of a credit or a debit card. Count 5, fraudulent use of a credit or a debit card. Count 6, fraudulent use of a credit or a debit card. Count 7, fraudulent use of a credit or a debit card. Count 8, conspiracy to commit robbery. Count 9, robbery with use of a deadly weapon. In addition to the $25 administrative assessment fee, the $150 DNA testing fee, the $3 DNA assessment fee, you're going to be ordered to pay $2,125 in extradition fees. You're also going to be ordered to pay $5,000 in restitution to victims of crime, and that's going to be ordered jointly and separately with the codependent. On count 1, you're going to be sentenced to 48 to 120 months in the Nevada Department of Corrections. On count 2, you're going to be sentenced to life in the Nevada Department of Corrections with the possibility of parole after 20 years has been served, plus a consecutive 24 to 60 months in the Nevada Department of Corrections for the deadly weapon enhancement. That's ordered to run concurrent to count 1. On count 3, you're going to be sentenced to 72 to 180 months in the Nevada Department of Corrections. That's ordered to run concurrent to count 2. Count 4, you're going to be sentenced to 19 to 48 months in the Nevada Department of Corrections. That's ordered to run concurrent to count 3. Count 5, you're going to be sentenced to 19 to 48 months in the Nevada Department of Corrections. That's ordered to run concurrent to count 4. Count 6, you're going to be sentenced to 19 to 48 months in the Nevada Department of Corrections. That's ordered to run concurrent to count 5. Count 7, you're going to be sentenced to 19 to 48 months in the Nevada Department of Corrections. That's ordered to run concurrent to count 6. Count 8, you're going to be sentenced to 28 to 72 months in the Nevada Department of Corrections. That's ordered to run concurrent to count 7. Count 9, you're going to be sentenced to 72 to 180 months in the Nevada Department of Corrections, plus a consecutive 72 to 180 months in the Nevada Department of Corrections with deadly weapon enhancement. That's ordered to run concurrent to count 8. You have 555 days credit for time served. That is a total aggregate sentence of life in the Nevada Department of Corrections with the possibility of parole up to 22 years.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Mayor, with regards to Ms. Halseth, she's asking the court if the court can accept that letter that she wrote out.
Yes, if you could approach Mr. Stamp on the left side, about the letter. All right, thank you. All right, thank you guys. That is not the conclusion of the calendar. I do have another case, which is yours.
Oh, okay.
Lopez?
Oh, yes.
Yes. All right, so that's the conclusion of that.